Zealand businesses, New Zealand manufacturers, New Zealand entrepreneurs. That's what our customer base is, businesses selling product that they're passionate about. They've got their product ready to go and now it needs a label on it. We're making things, 150 or more different options for you to choose in terms of what that little bit of paper looks like on your product.
So Hally Labels, what type of labels do you specialise in?
The whole gamut. So we're not so exciting blank labels that get overprinted by the customer and put on a carton, right through to the other end, the fully embellished wine labels that are, beautiful foil, beautiful embossing that you'll see on the shelf, and have a whole array of different types of embellishments to choose from and select. So.
Got it. So your customer then is a manufacturer or a producer who wants to show or promote, or at the minimum label their product or their packaging to the end customer, whoever that may be.
That's exactly it. So we are helping our customers portray their brand, their passion, their product on the packaging. Our New Zealand manufacturing base are they're quite smart in terms of understanding value add and understanding premiumisation of their products, and the label helps it to look like that. If you take a honey product such as this one,
Wow.
This is beautiful labelling that looks super luxurious, and the honey is very high value, but the label is helping to show the consumer base that that's what they're after. A lot of a story to tell in the label, and certainly in the wine space, I know that if you're looking on a shelf full of wine bottles, when I'm selecting a wine, I'm looking at the label, and I'll often choose the bottle based on the label. So it is about how that stands out and differentiates itself from all the other wine bottles and labels on the shelf there.
The front of the label is about generally the promotion side of it, and what you picked up there with the Manuka Emporium honey, or what I liked about it in that front is there's a bee on a place that it's not necessary to the label as such, but it's speaking to that bottle hasn't been opened yet. Yeah. So there's a slight, it's secure and it's premium. Is there anything that you've been asked to do in terms of labeling that you just think, wow, that's new, or that's complex to put together?
I think increasingly our New Zealand manufacturers are concerned about the security of their products and counterfeiting and traceability, and so we are seeing more and more characteristics that we can incorporate in the label to help them do that. So yeah, this is the finished product for the customer. We've got somewhere around here, a seal off label on the end of each one, which has got all the pertinent details that our customer will need to make sure it's the right product for them, which order it's come from, how many's on the roll, and then it also gives us traceability back into our system. So for some reason there wasn't something right about this product, they would tell us a job number, and we can then trace it back to the bulk roll of raw material that we got from our supplier, and investigate if that's necessary. RFID is starting now to be talked about in our industry more. An RFID tag can be inserted inside of a label so that when in the application process that RFID tag gets placed on the bottle or the jar, and that then gives them a method by which that can be scanned at any stage in the supply chain to track and trace and to show provenance. So in the red meat sector, it's important so that they can get the things that they need to make sure that our New Zealand made product overseas is the value in it is held, and that the premium nature of it is portrayed. Working closely with that sector is also quite interesting, given that that New Zealand is one big farm, and that's what we're about. We're about creating products domestically that we sell to the rest of the world. So I think more in the smarts, and the intelligence of the label. That's really what we're seeing now, along with the environmental push. So our customers are getting more educated about what they need to do environmentally, and of course part of their packaging, the label is part of their packaging, and we need to help them with understanding how to get the best end solution for their packaging. It's no good having a paper label on a HDPE product, because in the recycling process that's doesn't gel. They can't recycle either of them if they're still joined together. So you want a label that matches the packaging so that they can be recycled as one. And our customers also need to understand compostability and what that means. So there's home composting and industrial composting, and we don't have industrial composting capability in New Zealand. So there might be a product that is touted as being compostable, but really that's not going to happen in our small part of the world. We have to find another way. We've got a customer here who has an organic product. So for them, we've got a label that's actually not made out of paper. It's made out of ground down limestone left over from the building industry. So waste limestone goes into create a synthetic type label, which then, when left in the sun for a certain period of time, breaks back down again into little rocks. And so 150 or more different options for you to choose in terms of what that little bit of paper looks like on your product.
I've just learned so much about labels that I didn't know.
There's a lot to labels, and it's an industry that there's something new every day. The variety is massive, and we're making things that are important to people, so we get kind of a buzz from that. And it's an industry where you tend to, once you get started in it, you don't leave. I've been in labels for 20 years, it's terrific industry to work in.
Now we're at Hally Express in Auckland, which is different. The building name on the front is different as Hally Express versus Hally Labels. What happens here that's different from your other locations?
Yeah, so this is one of our 4 sites actually. We've got 2 in New Zealand and 2 in Australia, and Hally Express in our Auckland plant denotes the fact that we are digital. It's a short run, quick turnaround, and lots of variety. So if you've got 200 of this label and 500 of this one and 300 of this one, using a digital method of printing is the right way. It's a lot more cost effective. So this is what we call a die. It's locked into place with magnets, magnetic cylinder. You can see on this side that it's not die cut. And then this unit here, the die station, has the flexible die. It's going around and round and applying pressure to the web. And what it's doing is it's cutting through the face stock, cutting out all the various shapes that are required for these chutney labels. And then what is happening here is the waste face stock and liner are being peeled away, so that what we end up with is a product that is almost ready to go to the customer. We have a much bigger plant in Christchurch which runs what's called flexo gear, which is the longer run end of our game, and often we're making stock to be held on the shelf for the customer. So the runs are longer, the product's going on the shelf, and then they're calling it off when they need it.
When you're out shopping, do you see your products? Do you see your labels on products?
Yes, and I think anybody who works in this industry, their spouses would get sick of them standing around looking at the labels, out for dinner, peeling off the wine label, because it's always interesting for us. And yes, we see our products all over the place.
I'm the same. We go to the supermarket and instead of just getting the stuff I'm supposed to get, I'm looking at new bottles and I'm turning it around and going, oh, that's New Zealand made, or oh, it's Australian made. Okay, we'll put that on. Yeah, it's good seeing the New Zealand made KIWI on some of the products.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I think that's what our customer base is. It's New Zealand businesses, New Zealand manufacturers, New Zealand entrepreneurs. They're starting off businesses selling product that they're passionate about and they're making, and we get to work with them. And it is a local thing. They can't import that process. They get to work with us, and also lead times are often short too. So they'll want a product quickly. They've got their product ready to go and now it needs a label on it. The lead time means that getting things done locally is the answer. So our customer base is the breadth of New Zealand and the breadth of manufacturers, and any businesses will be our customers. It's terrific.
You're super passionate about the business, I can tell.
Can you tell? Yeah.
And I can tell that manufacturers are going to be looked after with their products, which is the pride and joy of what goes into it. And the labelling is that experience as a consumer where you're judging that product by its label. It's the first thing you see, and if it's something like wine or beverages, sometimes that influences actually what you taste as well. So it's a very important job, and I think if we look back historically, labelling becomes part of a country's culture. So 20th century labelling is now, it's artwork, some of it. Yeah. And so what you're doing now is doing the same for the 21st century, which is a great thing to see.
Hally Labels, Hally is a family name. The Hally family started it and owned it for the first 50 years of its inception, and then we transferred to a new private owner 5 years ago. But it's being custodians of the entrepreneurs and the inventors and the people who started in this game is what we do, and you can see why they were so passionate about starting it in the first place. It's a really interesting industry to be in.
Great thing to protect, great thing to be part of. Anne-Marie, thank you very much for your time today and sharing the Hally label story and your contribution to it and showing some of the products that you've labelled here today.
Thank you for having me, it's been a pleasure, and I'll be delighted to talk to others and help them along their label way.
Thank you for watching this episode of a KIWI Original. If you like what you saw, then hit the subscribe button and you'll get other episodes just like this one in your inbox. Make sure you hit the bell too for notifications, and you'll be served up uniquely Kiwi stories like this one contributing to New Zealand's future.